Welcome to Game & Grains, the whiskey gaming channel. I'm your player one, Richard. Now you're probably wondering why I have a generic 90 proof Sazerac Rye here in front of me. Well, if you keep up with new releases, then you probably saw that in July of last year, Buffalo Trace released a 100 proof Sazerac Rye whiskey. Well, it's finally hit my area and I was able to secure a bottle. I want to know just how much a flavor difference 10 proof points can make. And I'll let you know, is this something that you need in your collection, or should you just stick with the tried and true 90 proof? So grab your controllers, pour yourself a dram, and let's get into it. As I mentioned before, last year around July, Buffalo Trace released the Sazerac 100 proof. Now, they went ahead and just outdid themselves again by releasing the 125 proof Sazerac Rye around November. Now, obviously, I don't have that 125 proof. It has not hit my market yet, but as soon as I do, I will definitely do a side by side of those three. Now, I've heard rumors that that 125 proof is being compared to a Thomas H. Handy by many people, and even say that that one is better than a T.H. Handy. So we will have to see if and when that bottle hits my market. But for now, we're going to compare the two. As I mentioned before, 90 proof, 100 proof. If you're familiar with Buffalo Trace, then you know that they don't release their mash bills. They don't share their age statements. So we know that these are probably between 4 to 6 years old. Again, 90 proof, 100 proof. Now, as you can tell, there is a slight coloration difference. The 90 proof is going to be a lighter color. Excuse me. Whereas you have a slightly darker, richer color with that 100 proof. So it's obviously water has probably not been added, or at least not as much. So that's why we have that darker tint. Now we're going to go ahead and start over here with the 90 proof. I'm going to give you my tasting notes and we'll talk about the differences along the way. So first on the nose, the thing that seems to stand out the most for me is there is almost a spearmint on the nose, very faint, a light sweetness, perhaps even a bit of citrus, and it's the faint nose of those rye spices, those baking spices. Now, as you can tell, I have quite a bit of this gone. Most of this has gone into making an old fashioned. It'll probably be the same with this guy. I do prefer a stronger old fashioned, so 100 proof will probably be great for this. In fact, if you ever get yourself a bottle, on the back, they do have a recipe for what they are saying is the whiskey of America's first cocktail, the Sazerac. If you don't have this in your area and you want to just go ahead and pause it right here and get you a screenshot, feel free to do so. All right, so on to the taste of the 90 proof, the OG Sazerac. Cheers. So as it hits my tongue, I'm getting sweet, almost like a honey that is there, a slight minty note, the best adjective that I can come out to, with is herbaceous. So there's definitely some sort of herb or floral note to it. Definitely a stronger flower. When I say floral, I don't mean things like a rose or a tulip. I'm thinking of what's the eucalyptus might be something. Things that you would typically grow in your garden. That sounds corny. Of course you grow flowers in your garden. Anyway, there's definitely a stronger flavor that is there. When I say floral, I don't mean like roses or anything like that. The finish is not long at all. which you could expect with a 90 proof. This is great for drinking neat. And of course, you can't beat the price point. I think some places have it for 20 bucks, 30 bucks, somewhere in between. It is great, again, to drink neat, to have used for old fashions, and just a great entry-level rye whiskey. Now, this is the one that you came to watch probably, hopefully, and that is our 100 proof. So we're going to go ahead and first get in on the nose. So the first thing I'm getting on here is almost like a brown sugar or molasses, quickly followed up with a spicy note. I know that we say that it smells like rye spice or baking spice. I'm trying to pick out the individual notes that are there. There is that floral note. Again, I mean something like, I want to say pine, but pine does not, it sounds a little bit off-putting. But if you've ever had like an IPA, then you kind of know that same thing. It's like a sweeter version of what you would get off of an IPA. So there is a little bit of that spearmint that I mentioned here with this one. I feel like the spearmint seems to be more prominent, a little bit sweeter, lighter in this one, where this one, it is masked by some of the other notes that are there. So let's get in on the taste. Cheers. So right off the bat, it is that sweetness that quickly turns into those notes that I described as piney. Again, floral. I really need to get out and try to find out like more adjectives that would best describe this. Again, when I say floral, I don't mean like roses or tulips or things like that. I'm thinking of more of like herbs that you might cook with, or flowers or things like that that you would probably cook with. Let's get on the taste again. So it really leads with those herbal notes first. I do have a slight tingling on my tongue. I do pick up a little bit of mint, almost like there's also a peppercorn note that is there on my tongue as well. Now it's definitely hanging out a lot more so than the Sazerac 90 proof, leaving those flavors of a typical rye that's there. As I'm talking, again, my tongue is starting to get a little tingly, and that flavor is still hanging out a little bit. So, 100 proof, not bad. I've actually got several other ryes that are a little bit higher proof than this guy. They're sitting around 100, 110-ish. And a lot of the flavor that I'm getting off of this is similar to others. It's not as robust as maybe some of the other ones. In fact, I plan on doing a side-by-side or a blind later on of other 100 proof whiskey or ryes. I will say I've had the Knob Creek 8 or 9 year rye. That one is very robust as far as that rye spice flavor. This one's not up to par with that one as far as the spice flavor. It's still good. This one leans a little bit lighter, softer compared to that Knob Creek. Knob Creek is a little bit more in your face. So do I think that this is something that you should have on your shelf? Well, I think I paid probably about $40. If you can't tell already, this one is a liter. This one is a 750. And so you get a little more bang for your buck. You get a higher proof point. If you're looking to have something that has a little bit more oomph to it, as far as like for your cocktails or something like that, this would be great. Great if you were looking for something to sip on, neat, on the rocks, or something like that. So I think for maybe $35, $40, this is probably a good pickup. If you don't have it in your area, then of course, if you're just looking for an easy sipper, Sazerac Rye 90 proof is just as good. All right, so thank you for sticking until the end. Please make sure that you like this video. That just helps kind of feed the algorithm, get my videos out more to the masses. In the comments below, do you have the 100 proof or even the 125 proof out where you are? If so, drop in the comments where exactly, not the city per se, but at least the state where you live. So that way, hopefully, if you're in my area, I can hopefully expect that coming my way. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I am steadily making it to my next landmark. I've already hit 100 subscribers. I'm really dragging my feet on trying to do this celebratory video, but my next goal is 250 subscribers. So make sure that you're subscribed to this channel so you can keep up with all the great content that's coming out here. I usually try to put hunt videos out on Fridays. Share it with your whiskey friends, your whiskey family, whiskey enthusiasts everywhere. All right, guys, I appreciate you sticking until the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.